The first memory of Rizal in his infancy was in the family garden when he was 3 years old. Because he was a frail, sickly, and undersized, he was given the tenderest care by his parents. Of the stories told by Doña Tudor, Jose remembered the story of the moth, the tragic fate of the young moth, which died a martyr to its illusions, left a deep impress of Rizal's mind. He justified such noble death, asserting that to sacrifice one's life for it, meaning for an ideal, is worthwhile, and like the young moth, he was fated to die as a martyr of a noble ideal. Another memory of Rizal was the martyrdom of Gomporza. The priests, namely Gomez, Burgess, and Zamora, were executed February 17, 1872 due to the false accusations of treason and sedition, taking a supposed active role in the Cavite community. Pasiano, enraged by the execution of Burgess, and returned to the Calamba, where he told the heroic story of Burgess to his younger brother Jose, who was then nearly 11 years old, and truly inspired Rizal to fight the evils of Spanish tyranny and redeem his oppressed people. Rizal possessed a God-given gift for literature. It was Doña Tudora who first discovered the political genius of Fersen and encouraged Jose to write poems. At the age of 8, Rizal wrote his first poem in the native language entitled Ang Aking Mga Kababata. When he was in Ateneo, the first poem Rizal probably wrote was Mi Primera Inspiración, which was dedicated to his mother on her birthday. It was said that he wrote it before he was 14 years old in the year 1874. Before this year, he did not write poem because there was a gloom in his heart owing to his mother's imprisonment before June of 1872, when Doña Isidora was suddenly arrested on a malicious charge that she and her brother Jose Alberto tried to poison the latter's perfidious wife. Upon the release of his mother in 1874, his poetic heart began to sing with ecstasy and joy.
As a Damascene, he fought against students who insulted the brown Filipino students. Both Don Francisco and Pasiano wanted Jose to pursue higher education. Doña Teodora, who knew what happened to Gomborza, she told her husband to not send Rizal in Manila again. Rizal knows enough. If he gets to know more, the Spaniards will cut off his head. As a university student, the cruelty of Spanish oppression once again touched young Rizal's life directly. Precisely at the moment when his conscience was most sharply piqued by the injustices of his Dominican professors, along with almost daily degradation suffered at the hands of Spanish overseers. Two episodes in particular wounded him to the core. The impressionable Pepe became even more incensed at the corruption and discrimination of the Spanish colonial system. Rizal became desperate with the thought that in his own country he might never be truly free, a concept echo in the narrative voice of El Filibusterismo. In his frustration, Pepe now turned to the good agencies of his fellow Filipino youth. The bitterness of his personal experiences of oppression, both that perpetrated against his family, led him to become one of the founders of a secret student association called Compañerismo. Throughout his years of study, Rizal had always been deeply involved in the Filipino reform movement and was looked to the inspiration and the energy behind the cause. Noli Me Tangere, searing the inaction of the corruption of Filipino life under Spanish domination. Unfortunately, Noli Me Tangere had caused such a firestorm of controversy that received many threats. In fewer than 6 months, he was forced to leave his homeland. After his departure, Spanish officials moved against his family.
Late December 1891 brought the hope of change with the arrival of a new and seemingly more enlightened Governor General Eulogio Despojol. Upon Despojol's announcement of sweeping reforms, Rizal was quick to write and congratulate him. Your Excellency is a deeply demoralized country, which is on the eve of falling into a crisis. I consider your action the act of a prudent administrator and a man of goodwill. Ignoring the advice and warnings of friends and family, Rizal returned to the Philippines in 1892. In the hope of clarifying his intentions before the new Governor-General, on June 21, 1892, he wrote to Despojos explaining the reasons for his return to the homeland and Rizal's arrest and enforced exile were a great source of embarrassment for the Spanish government, which had hoped by taking him out of the public eye and limiting his ability to speak with others, Rizal's fame would disappear. during in this time of personal tribulation. So great was Rizal's skills as an ophthalmologist and so widespread his renown that patients from all over the world came to him for advice and treatment. At the Bolmetret's insistence, he pursued his study at the natural world and continued his inquiry into the origins of local languages and their similarities and differences. Sadly, the year 1896 was the spell disaster for Rizal as the Katipunan launched an insurrection against the Spanish government. Although he was in no way involved with the organization, Rizal was blamed for having inspired its activities and was arrested and charged with sedition by a military tribunal.